Hey everyone, welcome to the Meaningful Revolution podcast, where we hope to help you with your high performance in service to your purpose. So you feel fulfilled, so you feel authentic, so you feel more alive. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the end of the year. We're in the home stretch, y'all. The holidays are upon us. We're in the middle of it. If you think in the U.S. at least, and Thanksgiving, and then New Year's and Christmas and Hanukkah and all that at the end of the year are coming up. And as such, there's still time to push before we end up relaxing with family and friends during the last part of the year. And this is exciting because if you are living into your personal meaningful revolution, we have an opportunity because so many people just skate at this time of year in the holidays. And I know I've had jobs where everything just slowed down in anticipation of the break. And when we who have passion and meaning in our work or ambitions, it means we have a chance to get a little bit more ahead before we take a well-deserved rest. And I mentioned that push and resting together because it's really important to do both. We want to end this year feeling like we gave it our all, that we allowed ourselves to re-energize for the new year, and we have to be strategic about it. So today, we're going to go over 5 end-of-year strategies to make sure you feel accomplished, confident, and joyful with your progress, and allow yourself to enjoy the end-of-the-year break, whatever that means for you. Because we don't want to be the person who's so preoccupied with work during Christmas and New Year's and Hanukkah and all that, that we don't pay attention to our loved ones, we don't connect with our family, or we feel bad about a holiday that we haven't earned because there's just too much we know we could have done, but we let it go, right? Let's get into these 5 end-of-year strategies, right? The first thing to think about is your end-of-year must-dos. And the big question here is, what is your list? And is it feasible, right? As we're thinking about the end-of-year must-dos, right? What are the projects that you have open? What are the goals or tasks or aspirations that you need to make a little bit of progress before you can fully enjoy your rest? And hopefully you've been thinking about this throughout the whole year. And if you haven't, I have something I'll mention here in a little bit that might help you, but for next year. But understanding what must be done by the end of the year. In my business and the podcast, I am shifting around with this particular idea because I want to make sure that we have everything scheduled out for the end of the year. And I actually think this is going to be the first year since launching the podcast about a year and a half ago that there's going to be a break in episodes for this end of year holiday season. So what does that look like? What do I have to do to make sure that happens and I can enjoy the time off to refocus, rethink through things, all of that kind of jazz, right? And so what's on your list? And what is on your list in your health? What's on your list in your work? What about relationships? And what about well-being, right? Because as a high-performance coach, I'm constantly encouraging my clients to think along a more holistic part of their life. If you're so focused on work at the end of the year, the chances that you're going to neglect your health, your well-being, and your relationships is going to be high. We just want to make sure we get that on our planning to do. As I'm talking out, if you're able to either journal later or pause the podcast right now, wherever you're watching it or listening to it, and do this on YouTube too, so if you didn't know. But wherever you're consuming this episode, pause it and create a quick list of what you need to get done in your health, your work, your relationships, and your well-being, and what that might look like. Okay? The second thing to keep in mind is, what is your plan to keep your energy up, or the energy management of this time of year? Because there's going to be a lot of pie. There's going to be a lot of family and friend meals. There's going to be a lot of time where maybe you're getting pulled out of your health routines. And so how are you going to maintain your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health? because it also can be a trying time for families and people. What does that look like to you? For me, I did the gym membership a month before the New Year's resolution thing. Before the New Year's resolution thing, I'm doing cardio 5 days a week. I want to make sure that I don't get caught in the extra wine and all the cookies and things that'll be coming my way and the way towards my family. Yeah, so I can just maintain momentum and not feel like I'm trying to catch up at the beginning of the year. That's something I've learned over the years, is to start working on the habits now versus when you are going to commit to stuff and then give up in 2 weeks. Yeah, how are you going to best manage your energy, your sleep, your nutrition, your movement, and hydration, right? It's basic 4 things that I'm always talking about with my coaching clients. And here, evidently, I think I mentioned this a couple of times already during these episodes, but in case you haven't heard it, again, it's sleep, it's exercise, it's nutrition, and it's hydration, right? Third thing to really keep in mind is, if you have your list and you know how you're going to manage your energy, what is the most important thing to focus on before the end of the year, and what's the timeline, right? So again, I was hinting at this, but the last 2 weeks of December, I'm going to be taking a break from creating new episodes of the podcast so I can refocus on a couple of different things and hit next year running strong. And so that means I have about 3 weeks from the release of this episode to make sure everything is in line. Maybe it's 2 weeks. I need to double check the calendar. But yeah, so I get 2 weeks to get everything scheduled and planned out, all the emails written, all that kind of stuff, so that I feel like I can enjoy the time with my wife and my family. And that's what's important. And so what's your timeline, right? What needs to get done by when so you can relax? That's the idea here. On top of that, the fourth thing when it comes to ending the year strong, it's not just about work, right? I want to talk about what is going to excite you in December. What are you looking forward to? Is it a particular holiday tradition you have? Is it time doing your favorite activity during the winter, like going out in the snow alone? I don't actually do that, but is it some type of winter sport, or what are you looking forward to this month? Because sometimes if you have to push a little bit more, it's good to know there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's fun things waiting for you, and to keep focused on that. So what are you looking forward to this coming month? And then finally, when you have your time management, you're looking forward to things, you manage your energy, you know what you got to finish in December. How are you going to let go of things that have to get pushed? Or if you have to punt things till January because it's just too much, how can you let that stuff go so you can focus on what's really going to matter to you? And I love this question, and I love thinking about this because inevitably, at least in my life and with a lot of my clients, people overschedule themselves. They say, I'm just going to do these 5 big projects that would normally take 3 months to do each. I'm going to get them all done in the 2 weeks in the beginning of December so that I can rest and end strong. And that's not really going to be great or feel great. And it's okay to say there's this one thing that's absolutely important that I get done this month. And the rest of it, I'm just going to be okay with delegating or rescheduling or what is coming up for you. And as we're thinking of these 5 end-of-year strategies, and we're ending strong, it's also time to start talking about how you are going to start 2024 strong. And I would love to invite you to join me for the New Year's Personal Meaningful Revolution Challenge, which is a 3-day challenge that will analyze your habits, plan habits that are going to be important to you, and then help you implement them for the new year. I like to call New Year's resolutions revolutions because it could be, and I believe it should be, a time to think big, swing big, and make a lot of change and commitments to change so you can live a meaningful, purposeful life. And part of this is going to be looking at habits, your daily habits, your weekly habits, your monthly habits, quarterly habits, and making sure that you have attainable habits, that you are also thinking through the different areas of your life, like I talked about before. What are your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly habits for your relationships, for your health, for your work, and for your general just well-being, right? And making sure that you have those habits built in a way where it's not overwhelming, that you'll actually follow through with it, and you will reap the results that you're hoping to get. Because ultimately, it can be a drag to have New Year's resolutions that aren't inspiring or don't actually help you because they're not feasible. So you get overwhelmed and you quit. And so that's what we're hoping to help you with in this New Year's Revolution Challenge. You can join for free. You go to meaningfulrevolution.com/challenge to sign up for some additional information and to get the email notifications when we start on January 1st. And if you're thinking, maybe I can't make the January 1st thing, there will be a couple of days where the replays will be live. And then there's other ways that you can get the recordings, and I'll let you guys know about that as it happens. But right now, save your spot to plan your next year with me. I'd love to be part of your personal Meaningful Revolution. So go to meaningfulrevolution.com/challenge, sign up there for free, and we'll see you for this 3-day challenge at the turn of the new year. But as we go forward again, it's December, end strong, really focus in on what's meaningful, what's fulfilling, what's purposeful this month for a little bit. Take some much needed rest, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Meaningful Revolution podcast.